Football is a game that is decided by one team outscoring their opponent. Therefore, that makes goal scoring a very important aspect of football. And when it comes to goal scoring, Erling Haaland is one of the best you will ever see. The World Cup is going on right now, and he's demonstrating that. He's the joint top scorer at the moment with 7 goals. 7 goals in his first World Cup, playing for Norway, who are not one of the biggest footballing nations and have one of the best teams on paper, even though they do have good players. This guy, I believe he's 26 now. I think he's got enough of a body of work that makes him one of the very best goal scorers the game of football has ever seen. He's proven on every level he's played. He currently plays for Manchester City. He scored over 100 goals in 3 seasons, or is it 4 seasons, since he's been at Manchester City. He's won 3 Premier League Golden Boots. His first season, he scored the most goals within the Premier League era since 1992-93 when it rebranded. So within that time, he has the most goals in the modern Premier League, even though the most goals is Dixie Dean, who scored 60 goals in a league season, all the way in 1928, I believe. But in recent times, it's Erling Haaland. In his first season, he did that in England. When he was in Germany for Borussia Dortmund, he was scoring nearly a goal a game. In the competitions he's played in, the UEFA Champions League, he scored over 50 goals, scoring nearly a goal a game in the UEFA Champions League. He's won the Champions League. In every competition he plays in, Norway, he's got, I believe, over 60 goals for Norway. He scored more goals than appearances. For Norway, for Manchester City, when he was in Salzburg, he's been the Champions League's top scorer for when he played in Borussia Dortmund and for Manchester City. In his first World Cup, 7 goals. Yesterday, 2 goals against Brazil, in a game that Norway were not favourites. And he's won them the game through his goals. A lot of the time with Erling Haaland, he can be not involved in the game. His general play is not in comparison to other great strikers as good as them. But one thing about him is you can never count him out during the game. And he demonstrated that yesterday. I believe he's one of the smartest footballers in terms of just having patience. Some strikers, when they're not getting a lot of touches of the ball, they get frustrated, drop deep and try to get involved. He is a very patient striker and he has great movement. He has great anticipation. He obviously has physical traits. He's about 6'5". He's quick. He's got an intimidating presence. And he can score solo goals at times, just like he did outside of the box. This is a guy that scores all types of goals, mainly in the penalty area, but he scores all types of goals. Like I said, sometimes he's not involved. People question his general play. But goal scoring is one of the most important parts of the game. And he is elite at goal scoring. And I believe his body of work, in terms of what he's done in different leagues, in the UEFA Champions League, now for Norway, makes him one of the greatest goal scorers of all time. We've seen great goal scorers recently, the likes of Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo, the numbers that they were putting up. Kylian Mbappe is a great goal scorer. Robert Lewandowski. We've seen great goals, Harry Kane. But this guy might be the best of recent times. Some people will say, Messi and Ronaldo. But I don't consider Messi or Ronaldo natural goal scorers in terms of when they first started their career. Cristiano Ronaldo was a wide player. And then over time, he became a great goal scorer. Messi, he adapted to scoring quicker than Ronaldo, but he was kind of like the same, playing on the right-hand side. And then he started scoring a lot of goals. And Ronaldo and Messi, their peak numbers came in favourable conditions for them, in terms of Messi being at Barcelona and Ronaldo at Real Madrid. Whereas Haaland has produced these numbers at every level. I don't think Messi or Ronaldo could get the numbers that Haaland is getting in Norway. That's just my opinion. You've got other great players like Mbappe, who's scoring, like I said, Harry Kane. This guy, if you look at his numbers, goal ratio, he may be the best of the lot. And I just, historically, wherever you want to you know, football didn't start in the times that we're living in. You've had historic players, goal scorers, you know, you hear about them, you look at their numbers, Puskas, Pele, Eusebio, Gerd Muller, you know, Romario, he was a great goal scorer, Brazilian Ronaldo. So there've been great goal scorers before. But I believe this guy, even though he's currently playing, you can put him in conversations of being one of the greatest goal scorers of all time. You know, he's done enough. Goal scoring is a fundamental part of the game. I see sometimes people say he's not a great player. He's a great goal scorer. You know, I'm so sorry, but if you're elite at one of the most important parts of the game, that will make you a great player. He's so good at something that's so important that the other parts are not that much of a necessity for him. You know, every level continues to deliver. You know, I fear for England. Hopefully he has one of his quiet games. But this guy, you know, he's just proven on every level in terms of scoring goals. That is his thing. That's his bread and butter. And he now has to be considered as one of the greatest goal scorers football has ever seen. You know, he's another one of these players who's kind of taken, we don't appreciate because he's currently playing. You know, there's a lot of talk about where are all the great football players. I kind of feel like Mbappe gets taken for granted, Harry Kane. And Haaland is definitely one of them who's been producing for years now. And people question, where are the great players? You're watching one of them. And he's delivering at a World Cup for Norway. This is historic stuff. The first time Norway have reached the quarterfinals, they've just beaten Brazil and Erling Haaland scored a brace. Brilliant header. Absolutely just posterizes Gabriel. And then the second goal. You know, he scored a winner against Ivory Coast. His goals were crucial in the group stage. He didn't even play the third game. And he's got 7 goals. This is unbelievable stuff from Erling Haaland. You know, unbelievable. I just wanted to just, you know, give him his credit that this guy, when it comes to scoring goals, he's one of the best you ever see. It's as good as it gets. It's all types of goals at every level. He just continues to deliver. And he will continue to deliver. You know, his numbers for Manchester City. Manchester City had a previous great striker in Sergio Aguero. His numbers are clearly better than Sergio Aguero, who was a great striker in his own right. This guy Haaland, man, like, just devastating. You know, you heard about him when he was in Salzburg, scoring goals in the group stage, and then he joined Dortmund. I remember that game he scored 2 goals against PSG in 2020, I believe. And he just hasn't stopped. He's just relentless. Doesn't mind not getting involved in the game because he knows his thing. He's a specialist in something. His thing is to score goals. And he does that as good as anyone I've ever seen. Erling Haaland is one of the best goal scorers football has ever seen.